Welcome to Greige Against the Machine, the podcast where we celebrate the extraordinary talent and accomplishments of lesser-known and even unknown artists and creatives. I'm Lisa Catara alongside Justin Harvey, and each week we'll explore the minds and stories of the journeymen and women behind your favorite films, shows, ads, music, and more. Those who craft magic without the red carpet spotlight or public eye, because everyone has a unique story to tell, and sometimes the most inspiring voices are the ones you haven't heard yet. I'm so proud of myself. Okay, as you can see, this is not Justin Harvey sitting next to me, and there's a reason for that. So Justin got himself booked on a producer job, and he is knee-deep in that, so he's not with us this week. So I figured, the cat's away, I'm going to have my favorite person on. This is my best friend, Michael Uribes, and I'm going to tell you right now, Michael and I can talk forever, and we know we have an hour on Instagram, so we already know that we're going to be, cutting this off. But here's why Michael is fantastic for Greige Against the Machine podcast. For one, he's a California native. He's an AMDA grad. He has been in countless stage productions, which is interesting because we talk about actors and film directors and all that on IMDb, the movie database, but a lot of people have no credits there. They got like 50 to 100 theater credits. And Michael is one such person because he's unbelievably talented. And I know, I'm going to embarrass the crap out of you. I love that you're sitting right here when I do this. He's been a working actor throughout pandemic and the strike. And my God, and he's in the hottest show right now in Los Angeles County called 44 the Musical, which we'll get to. So, Mike, you're hot right now. You're hot right now. Mercutio, you're hot right now.
Well, let me first say thank you for having me on, and also thank you for not making me eat hot wings or sit in a tub of ice water or any other fun things people do when they get interviewed nowadays. I don't know how well I'd hold my composure getting a colonoscopy or deboning a chicken. So thanks for just keeping it simple.
I got to make notes.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. Well, we'll try to make sure this isn't a 3-part episode because it very much easily could be. But I'm just happy to be here and getting a chance to. I'm always happy to talk.
Thank you for letting me talk you into it, because I know at first you were like, I don't need this. I'm like, yeah, but I do.
I didn't need it. I just didn't. What you don't need is like me rambling on about the mundanity of what happens in my brain. But if I keep focused and keep structured, we'll be fine. It'll be great. There's plenty of cool stuff to talk about.
I will try to guide you along the way and keep you on track. So obviously your trajectory into Hollywood, like I don't even know for you where that began, because like we said, you started on stage, and stage people are a certain way.
We are. I have to make one correction though in my little bio. You said I was AMDA. I'm ADDA.
Oh, you're ADDA.
AADA, American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Oh yeah, I knew what it is.
And that is, and the reason I point that out is because that was my trajectory to Hollywood. I came down here to attend the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Pasadena.
Ah, okay. Unbelievable. Well, wait. So when you got here, to LA, it was stage first. What was your first stage production?
Right out of school, when I got to LA, the first thing I did was, my college roommate and I, one of them, after we graduated, we immediately joined a repertory theater company in North Hollywood called Actors Alley, and it had a great history, and it transmorphed into another great company called the Company Rep. But we were working out of the El Portal in Hollywood, in North Hollywood. And my first show there was a musical written by Joel Hirshhorn, who was a 2-time Academy Award-winning composer. And my audition for that show was at his house. I had to go to Joel Hirshhorn's house and sing for him while he accompanied me, with his 2 Oscars sitting next to me.
No pressure.
No pressure. But it was a beautiful musical called Musical Chairs, and it was actually.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yeah, it always sounds. I don't mean for it to sound funny. It was about the Holocaust. It was a
Mm-hmm.
musical about the Holocaust, and it was a very beautifully written show. I've made friends in that show who are family to me to this day. But that was my first professional job in Hollywood.
Oof. That's a lot of pressure for your first.
It was, and
gig.
I was a member of the repertory company, and like I said, and I kind of wasn't supposed to be able to do the show because I was perfectly suited for the podcast. I was a journeyman in the company, and we had to do like certain like technical requirements and grunt work can be put into a show. But I was asked to audition and booked the job, but they were like, but he hasn't done his technical credits yet. And we were like, ooh, the drama never stops, you know?
So you should explain to everyone, when it comes to theater, we're kind of expected to know all of the departments on like TV and film.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, like jumping back a little bit, like my first job when I first moved to Southern California, I was a stagehand at a theater in Orange County, and I was a rigging master there. I hung drops for plays. Yeah. So I did everything from hanging drops to building sets to lighting to sound. I ran every aspect of theater that a play needs. Before that was while I was in school, actually.
You're overqualified.
So by the time I got to the repertory company, I had a good knowledge, a basic knowledge of the bare bones of what a theater or what a play requires. And it was a good thing too, because like while they were trying to figure out if they were going to let me do this part, a show that was running lost their stage manager. So I literally jumped in the night before their first preview.
Perfect.
And learned how to stage manage the show. And they're like, okay, that's going to fulfill his technical requirement. He can do the play now. So.
I mean, yeah, going live with an actual production should.
Yeah. And I mean, and the thing is, like, what was really great was I met my mentor, a man named Dana Craig, that night, because he was brought in to help me literally learn how to be a stage manager, because I'd never done that. So he had a table, he had this little round table by the foot of the stage, and he had 5 scripts, 5 different versions of the script in front of it. And he said, sit down. I'm going to show you how to this is the lighting script.
Oh, like breaking it down.
This is the scenic script. Yeah. We're going to put all this together and Frankenstein together a script that you can use to call the show while it's running. And I learned literally in one night how to be a stage manager. So
unreal.
Yeah.
So where in all this, you've performed a lot, and I feel bad because I've been here on the wrong coast, so I couldn't go to any of your premieres of like anything. You've had these great. Where did Captured Aural Phantasy Theater come in?
About 8.
And explain what it is too. For
Captured Aural Phantasy Theater is a company that I've been a member of for 18 years, I think. Maybe somewhere between 16 and 18 years.
So cool.
I did a production of Two Gentlemen of Verona at another repertory theater company in LA called Company of Angels. And a guy that I met in that named Tomas Roche, Tommy Roach, my guy, he said, hey, he was from Chicago. And he said, hey, me and my buddy Ben, we used to do this. We used to be a part of this theater company in Chicago that used to do stage readings of vintage comic books. And we want to start doing it again. And I want you to bring you in. And I was like, what are you talking about? It was like, but what Captured Aural Phantasy Theater has done now for these many years is read vintage comic books from the 40s and 50s, like a radio play. And we have screens behind us where we project the artwork from the comic panels, and we read the scripts and we do the ads. We have musical numbers, we do skits, and we've done everything. We've done Halloween shows, we've done Christmas shows, Easter shows. We've been to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I'm there every year since we've
I mean, started. I would think this would be a Comic-Con favorite. Like this would be something people.
Oh yeah, we're pretty much a staple because we have exclusive performance rights from EC Comics, which was the publishing company that was run by William Gaines in the 40s and 50s, and he was actually responsible for there being a comics code, because during the Red Scare, a child psychiatrist decided that comic books were responsible for juvenile delinquency. And he wrote this book. I'm trying to think of his name. He wrote this book called The Seduction of the Innocent. And it basically blamed juvenile delinquency on comic books. And there were a bunch of congressmen who were getting jealous of all the attention that McCarthy was getting during the Red Scare.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting on TV. And they go, we need a way to get on TV. So they picked up on this guy who had written this book. And they're like, this is it. We're going to hold hearings. And we're going to condemn comic books. And this publisher, Gaines, found out about it, went to New York on his own dime, and testified on behalf of his industry. And
Wow.
it was working until it got to the point where it was like, well, how much violence is too much violence? Because if you've seen any of these comic books, it's like the covers are like severed heads.
Oh, yeah.
And it's pretty gory.
Yeah.
And in the end, they were kind of able to put him out of business and create a rating system for comic books. But don't feel bad for him, because he was also working on a Lampoon magazine at the same time.
No
So
way.
when his comic book company tanked, he started Mad Magazine.
Wow. That's why I know the name.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan.
So anyway, Captured Aural Phantasy Theater has exclusive performance rights for the entire EC catalog. Tales from the Crypt, Weird Science, all those. We get to do those.
So you're just surrounded by politics.
I really am, yeah.
So those who have not heard of the show, to be fair, brand new show. So when I was doing Broadway, oh my God, like 1,000 years ago now, we would workshop new shows. We would workshop things that wanted to be seen for the potential of going to Broadway, and it was a huge deal, and they'd run us into the ground and change things minute to minute, and you'd think you'd get it, and the next day be different. Well, sometimes these shows gain a little steam, and 44 the musical did and is, and it's how many years now has it been? It's a short window.
Our first reading was in the spring of 2021, I believe.
Right. So 2021, first reading, gained a little buzz, did a couple shows. Now you've been to New York City. You've been to Chicago.
Yep.
You've been to, where else have you been? One more.
Philadelphia.
And then they brought it back to Culver City, to a great stage.
Yeah.
And you just opened, now you got matinees going on, and people are going crazy for this musical. And it's not necessarily political per se.
Well, here's though, just for the viewing audience, tell them what the full title of it is. Do you remember the full title?
I want you to, because it's your show.
It's called,
I do remember.
It's called 44, the Obama musical, as told from the hazy recollection of Joe Biden.
So if you like political parody and you're in Los Angeles County, you got to go see this while you can. It's not going to be there forever. And let them know that you love it and help them, because I feel like this show is something inevitable for, at least off Broadway and traveling.
And here's the thing, so brief history, the show started, as like you said, in a workshop at the Bourbon Room in Hollywood, which is a concert venue.
That's doing time. If you do the Bourbon Room, that's doing time.
Hollywood Boulevard, people. But it was reading with the first, initially we were just sitting there with scripts in our hands and reading and getting up and singing the songs. And then over the course of the next 2 years, we started putting full productions together on this tiny little concert venue, like cabaret show stage. Because it's the Bourbon Room is a place where bands and DJs go to play gigs.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do like a full length musical on it. So, but we spent enough time working on it in that atmosphere that it was just sort of like the show belonged on that stage.
Mm.
Then we got a week in New York for 4 days at a similar venue, but not quite the same as what we were used to. So that was our first.
For people who are watching that are into TV and film, this is a big deal. Off Broadway is goals.
Yeah.
Broadway is like dream come true, next level bullshit. Like that's up here, but like off Broadway, huge deal. Even for 4 shows, even for 4 days, I should say.
Yeah. So, and then, that was our first sort of experience of, we've got to make adjustments. We've got to, fine tuning, a lot of fine tuning. And then we went to Chicago. And that was a lot trickier because that venue was a church. That venue was a converted church. And there were like a lot of technical challenges, technical challenges that we weren't used to.
Was it retrofitted for production beyond just,
not really.
Okay.
Not really. Wow. So, our sound system was a real challenge for that.
Sure, yeah.
But again, it was like everything. And what was beautiful about it, was beautiful about the process. It was like, yeah, there was some stuff that we couldn't do anymore. There was some stuff that we were having a hard time making work. But eventually, we're like, okay, we can fix this. We're going to fix this. And it clicked. And then finally, ironically, I think for me personally, one of the more challenging runs that we did was the last run that we did in Philadelphia. And the reason that it was challenging was because it was a theater. And I went, what do you mean we have across what? Dressing rooms? What? I'm not dressing in a stairwell? What? There's no rats? What?
Yeah. Did you give him your rider? You're like, listen, I need water, blessed.
Yeah. I'm like, you mean I can go the other side of the stage?
So, when you guys go to a theater show, Broadway excused, major facilities, playhouses excused. If it's a black box, chances are what you see on stage has nothing to do with the reality behind the curtain. It is a tiny, dark mess behind the curtain.
Yeah. And just, and again, for context, the show is about Obama's first term as president. And it's written by a guy named Eli Bauman, who worked on Obama's first campaign. And it is a very satirical, broad, funny love letter to Obama's presidency. But it's written in a way that is not like, because we've had concerns about this from people who haven't seen the show. It's not just like, a liberal love letter. We've had people from all spectrums of the political landscape come and see the show and love it.
Nice.
Because no one is, even, Obama is, as much as elevated as he is, he's a punchline a little bit in some areas, and I have the fortunate task of
Can I say it?
Please. Who do I play?
Michael Uribes stars as Ted Cruz. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at you and I'm like, I know you so well. There's no Ted Cruz in you. And to be the most hated man.
Just about.
On that stage.
Just about. The groans, the reaction I get. I literally have, my first thing that I say on stage is, I'm Ted Cruz. And the reaction that I get is like, I feel like a pro wrestler in the 80s when I'm in Madison Square Garden telling mouth breathers to sit down and shut up. It's just a cacophony.
We got to go back a little bit on this. Did you know who you were auditioning for when you read? Okay, what was your audition?
Well, I'm gonna introduce a name that is very near and dear to me now. A casting director here in Los Angeles, probably one of the best in my humble opinion. A man named Michael Donovan. Michael Donovan and Richie Ferris are two people who have just made sure that I've had a career over the last 20 years. Michael and I have, prior to this show, a working relationship that was just about 24, 25 years.
And how many productions has he booked you in to date?
We're in the 30s. We're somewhere in the mid 30s. Yeah. He likes to brag that I hold the record.
You must.
Cast by Michael Donovan casting.
Wow.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
So this call comes.
He calls me, and the only thing, he and I, when we're together, sometimes we're like an old married couple because we just like to nag at each other. Like when I would go into his office and read, I would get such looks from people because I'd be like, what do you want? Why are you bothering me? And shut up, get in the room. And people are like, what is going on? So he calls me and he goes, "Can you rap?" I went, "What? Can you rap?" I don't know. Maybe. All right. Well, record yourself rapping and send it to me.
Oh my gosh.
What the hell are you talking about? And he goes, there's a reading of this new musical about Obama's presidency, and I need to play, I need you to audition, but you need to rap. And I went, okay. And that was all he told me. And I went, all right. I'm like, why? He goes, you're going to play Ted Cruz, and there's a song in the show called Filibuster, and in it, Ted Cruz raps Green Eggs and Ham.
Of course he does. Yeah.
And I went, oh,
I'm in.
Okay. And immediately my first thought was, I don't have to be good. It's not like,
I mean, well,
nobody ever said Ted Cruz slaps, you know? So as luck would have it, I had found something I had done for Captured Aural Phantasy Theater. I had written an epic rap battle of history.
Cool.
For
what are the odds?
Trademark notwithstanding, but like a rap battle between Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi. And I had a recording of myself and my friend Ray doing that. So I sent that to Michael. And Michael goes, okay, you're in, show up, at this time in this place. And he's like, I'm going to send you the tracks so that you can learn the music. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. And again, I thought it's going to be easy. I just got to go out there and like stumble over, do a bad rap.
No, this
and he sent me a track of Eli Bauman, the writer, doing it. And I'm like, damn. Oh my God.
Did you start slow? This thing slaps. This thing is hardcore.
Well, it's a duet between Ted Cruz and Mitch McConnell. Mm-hmm. And our Mitch McConnell, brilliantly played by one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. Larry Cedar. Larry, bless him, God, thank you, Larry, is a drummer. So his rhythm is impeccable.
Great.
And I'm like, oh, thank God. So Larry, thankfully, keeps me on the right rhythm. But I mean, I had to like learn.
There's so many words.
Yeah. And it's like, and the thing is like when Larry starts the song and it's a pretty even beat. And then on my intro, it kicks up. And so to this day, it's been 3.5 years and I'm standing backstage waiting for this intro to happen going, yeah, okay, I got this. And I hear the beat kick up and I go, oh dear God, please just don't let me fall off the stage. But
oh my gosh.
But yeah, so that was for the reading at the Bourbon Room.
That's got to get so that duo between Cruz and McConnell has to get the biggest guffaw from the audience.
Again, these are they're parodies.
Mm-hmm.
The the Republicans in this show are absolutely ridiculous. Mitch McConnell thinks he's Suge Knight. Sarah Palin might as well be a cover girl. Jane Papa George, wonderfully played by Jane Papa George. Jeff Sumner. Anybody who's been to Disneyland and seen the Aladdin show probably has seen Jeff Sumner. Jeff Sumner is a legend. Is a pitch perfect Lindsey Graham, and Dino Shorte, who plays Herman Cain, who Dino swears up and down he's not an actor, he's not a singer, he's not a dancer, and then he gets up on stage every night and burns the house down. He is incredible. But all of these characters, Ted Cruz included, are just absolutely ridiculous. And the thing about it too is that when you're playing a parody of a person, you are expected to heighten the reality. We don't heighten that much. Because they're not the most stable people in real life.
Yeah. I mean, the timing of this musical, kudos, by the way, is so apropos. I mean, we've never had this many characters to draw from. I mean, the potential of this show to reinvent itself is exponential.
And to his credit, Eli, the current administration, not mentioned. There's one very subtle reference, but for the most part, it's because it's not about him. It's not the time period. It's not the time period where he was relevant. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What do you think the future of the show? I mean, right now you guys are in the middle of another run and it's sold out, isn't it? Like your shows are sold out.
We're at the Kirk Douglas Theater in Culver City.
Great.
We opened 2 weeks ago and we're running until March 23rd. And it's selling really, really well. We just added a a Saturday matinee performance to our final weekend.
Fantastic.
So, and then after that, there's a lot of TBDs in the air about returning to Chicago and Philadelphia. And
Cleveland Playhouse. I'm telling you, it's so great.
Get somebody. Do you think somebody by now would have seen it? Like,
you know what? You'd be surprised. You kind of have to. You have to pitch
yeah,
it.
but it's got legs, and New York is always like that abstract. Somewhere down the line. The other thing too is that this show we're not being produced like a traditional musical theater. Production is being produced, and we're kind of asking questions that don't normally get asked in terms of production, and in a way it's creating a new way for theater to be produced at this level.
Nice.
And it's opening a lot more doors because it's making people stop and go, well, why aren't we doing it this way?
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, theater performer to current theater performer and lifelong theater performer. For you, I want to talk a little bit about the nuances, the differences between stage performance and then TV and film. For me, it was, no one's in the back row. It was bringing everything more intimate, smaller, and since we both started in TV and film, that's completely changed. Now it's more cinematic than it's ever been. Do you find going back and forth between the two mediums, because you do television too, are the nuances closer together, further apart, the same, different?
The nuances are the same. The determining factor is the atmosphere. The determining factor is what's around you.
Sure.
Because a lot of the film and TV stuff that I've done, the film work specifically, most of the TV stuff has been pretty broad, so I've been able to not have to adjust the theater level so much.
Right.
A lot of the film stuff though has been really intimate, and it's sort of the biggest difference for me is obviously the reaction time. Because on stage it's you don't, when you're filming, you don't know if it's going to work or not until it airs.
Right.
And on stage it's like, ooh, that didn't work.
That bombed. Yeah. Which one of us is going to get us out of this shit now?
Yeah. And I'll tell a quick TV story where it was a disciplinary thing. I was doing an episode of Goliath, the Billy Bob Thornton show on Amazon, and it was directed by Lawrence Trilling, who produced Alias and Pushing Daisies. And the scene that I was doing was with Paul Williams, who was a hero of mine because he wrote all the music for the Muppet movie. God bless. And the other guy in the scene with me, yeah, right. And that was like kismet for me. And the other guy in the scene was a guy named Greg Apt, who was actually a public defender in LA, and he was the legal advisor on the show. They had him play this role, and in the scene, it was basically these two lawyers coming to prison to interview a prisoner. And
I remember you were brilliant in this. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, thank you. But in the script, there was an adjustment that had to be made last minute, because in the script it was them coming to the prison, and the scene is at a table, and I'm talking to Greg after a while, and after a while I stop talking to Greg and I start talking to Paul. And I showed up, ready to go, and when they brought me out onto the set, it wasn't a table, it was the traditional partition with the phones, and I'm like,
nuance, very different.
Yeah. And Lawrence had been shooting all day, he'd been filming, all afternoon, and I could tell it was kind of like, I don't know if they were rushing, but it was a very everything was down to the minute and being run like a Swiss clock. It was wonderful. And I got to talk to Paul, and I got to talk to Greg, and we went over the lines a little bit. And as I was going over the lines with them, it was like nobody really mentioned how are we supposed to, make this different, because obviously I'm going to be talking to Greg, and then it's
and he can't hear you because he's not on the phone.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? These people are professional. I'm going to let them figure it out. And I'm literally, they sit me down, they get me wired. The camera's ready. And Lawrence is like, okay, we're going to try a rehearsal and see how it goes. And I'm like, okay. And literally just before he calls action, he's about 10 feet away from me on the camera. And I hear this, oh wait, hang on a second.
He sees it.
And I went, okay, great. Release, relax a little bit. And then I hear, hey, Michael. Yeah. He goes, so this thing with the phone isn't going to work with these lines. So when you get done talking to Greg, just give him a little improv or something so you can give the phone to Paul.
Love it.
Okay. Now I have a stand-up comedy background. I did stand-up comedy when I was a child, all the way up until the last time I did it, I was 19 years old. Telling a comic to improvise is a very dangerous thing sometimes. So naturally, that part of the brain kicked in. The scene starts, and I'm talking to Greg, and it's like dialogue, and I like shoot a zinger at Greg, and he gets flabbergasted, and he hands the phone to Paul, and we go on, and we finish it, and he goes, cut. He goes, yeah, okay, let's go again. He goes, Michael, try something else. Okay, so did it again. Talking dialogue, zinger to Greg. Greg gets flabbergasted. Cut. Yeah, okay, one more time. Michael, we're almost there. Find it. And finally, this voice in my head said, dumbass. He's not asking you to improvise so that you could be funny. He's asking you to improvise so that Greg will give Paul the phone.
Connect the two things.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, rein it in, Henny Youngman. Jesus. So we go again. Dialogue with Greg. We get to that point, and he's looking at me like a little exacerbated. And I just went, give him the fucking phone. And it's cut. Thank you. Perfect.
Solved.
And it was just like, oh God. It was like, so I'm sitting there. It's like, great. Now we're going to move it in for coverage. And I'm sitting there, and I've got the phone, and I hear this voice on the other end of the phone go, that was really good. And I look up, and it's Paul.
It's Paul.
And he goes, I saw you figure that out. He goes, I know actors that would have taken 20 takes to figure out. You did it in 3, so way to go. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
I love that scene too. You're in prison and you're hardcore.
Yeah,
I loved that. That salute. I always wondered about that line because it was so effortless. I was like, oh, that was actually Michael for a second there.
Yeah. And Greg was great. Greg was really cool. That whole day was awesome. And Paul Williams was just, come on.
Yeah. Oh God, we live for these moments when you finally get a chance to breathe. It's very, very rare if you're not a celebrity, if you're not one of the name talent, that people give you license to do your job in the context of a co-star, guest star, or even sometimes slightly recurring. You generally stick to a script.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Thank you. Next, you're not the most important person in the scene. You're the thing that ties it all together. Absolutely. Or transitional, that you're not a star.
And I just had the one scene, and it was,
so good.
And it was interesting. I thought about that too. I was like, I don't really know a lot of film and TV directors will ask you to improvise, but
you figured it out though. You're like, wait, what is the genre of this show?
Yeah. I was literally, a part of me was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
But again, it was like, I needed to learn that lesson. I needed to it was that discipline thing, because on stage,
excellent.
I mean, in 44 too, bless his heart, Eli gives us a lot of leeway in rehearsals. And sometimes when we were at the Bourbon Room, when it was, the show was still more of a cabaret thing, and there was a lot of call and response with the audience, we'd roll, we'd riff, scenes, all night, it'd kill. We do great. But it was like, now the show has evolved to a point where it's like, no, we're in a theater now. We're in a space now.
Right.
Show's got to be locked, guys.
Respect the boundaries.
Yeah, and it's like,
now you've got the camaraderie, like the cast is congealed, like you catch each other's eyes, you know the nuances.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And, and for the most part, the core company has stayed the same over the last, 3 to 4 years too.
That's a success.
Yeah.
Because people get booked, they go, they do things, and your cast is. If you had to lose somebody, we did lose one company member to the national tour of Wicked. Amazing.
You gotta go. That's why we're like, no, you gotta go. But for the most part, we're
your cast is, everyone's got resumes for days. It's crazy fun. To me, on the outside, I long for that. I long for that moment when, like, ain't this some shit?
Yeah.
Energy.
I still fangirl over half my cast, or all of my cast.
God,
really,
I love that.
I'm fans of all of them.
I'm a fan of you. So I want to tell the story about how we met.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're telling it.
My perspective is only my perspective, because I still don't know.
That's why I want to hear it.
So for a period of time back in Los Angeles, I was living in a shitbox in North Hollywood. If there's anything else up in North Hollywood, I don't know. But this one in particular, I needed to get out of. And at the same time, we were both members of a theater company up there. And I was doing some media when Michael was in a show, and we had to do some videos and some promo stuff. And, I saw him for like that long. That's it. Never saw him again. But we stayed in touch on Facebook. And one day I put it out there. I was like, hey, can anybody help me move? This is one of those things like helping somebody move or taking them down to the airport. Now, this guy immediately says, I'll help you. This is the middle of COVID. I should preface.
Exactly. The lockdown.
This is during the lockdown when like everybody had cooties and we weren't allowed to work. And like no one was allowed to work except the construction companies building the prefab crap all over town. So I'm like, okay.
I needed something to do.
He was bored out of his gore. So he helped me move. And like literally the second we started talking, it was like, holy shit, you're from my planet. And we have not stopped laughing since. Michael is I'm bragging on you now. And if you make me cry, I swear to God. Michael is one of these rare human souls that know exactly what you need when you need it. He says the words you need to hear in the most beautiful and attentive and thoughtful way. He pays attention to his family and friends. He loves with all of his heart. He is always a fan and friend of everybody that is in his life. He is honest as the day is long. He is ridiculous and brilliant and talented. And I don't even know how I survived all these years not knowing Michael Uribes. And then I left him and I moved. That's what, when we got to my new place, man, I should never have left it. I had the cool place in Toluca Lake.
You had a great place.
Oh, it's amazing. He would help me with auditions. We'd help each other out. And on Friday nights, I started a little tradition of Bollywood action films. You love this. Shut up.
This woman.
They are brilliant.
They are.
They're like, God, I don't even know what to liken it to.
No, there's nothing to liken them to. They're incredible.
Not true. It's like the Monty Python if it were action and Indian.
Here's what enhanced the experience for us.
Commentary.
My one of my great guilty pleasures is Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah.
So I took it upon myself to do a running commentary on these ridiculous movies that she would pick
from my planet.
And it just, we just giggled incessantly with each other. But I want to go back to how we met really quick.
What I missed?
Because no, not even what you missed, but it's funny that you said, don't make me cry. Because do you remember the interview that I did? I mean, this is literally the moment we met. You put a microphone on me so that I could do this interview. And I sat down and this guy asked me a question about the show that I was doing. And I was playing a homeless person in it.
Yeah.
And I answered the question. And as soon as I got done answering the question, we heard this. We both look over and Lisa is weeping. At the end, I was like, are you okay?
Listen, I'm allergic to everything.
But I was just like the guy doing the interview was like, I think you broke her.
That was Chuck.
I don't even remember what I said. I don't. It was a very like, I didn't end up doing the play, ironically.
Here's the thing. In that particular theater company, on that particular production, not everybody interviews the same. Some actors, they book things and they feel entitled to have booked them, and they are very literal in their interviews, and that's cool because we're telling a story to an audience about what the show's about.
Sure.
Michael can't just be literal. He makes everything. He does the work. He gets in, even in the role that you were doing. Like, you get inside of this and understand where these characters are coming from. And I think it was a culmination of like seeing a human not just an actor. Seeing a human who cared about this writer's work, who cared about the production, and who took that role seriously.
Yeah.
And I needed that. I needed to see that.
It's tough. I will say it's tough for TV and film actors to do theater sometimes.
Yeah.
Because
Very different and very the same.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're flexing different muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And as somebody who spends the majority of his time on the stage as opposed to in front of the camera, I can tell you that when I do work with people who I can spot the film and TV actors working on stage. And it's not because they're bad. It's because
they need permission.
It takes them longer to get acclimated, a little longer to get their sea legs. And you kind of, it's fascinating sometimes because you watch the good ones settle into it.
Yeah.
And finally find their footing.
Yeah.
And find their voice, and they start doing
sigh.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, it's this.
I'm allowed to breathe here.
I'm going to get another chance to do this tomorrow." It's that, because and my joys in my career have been working with people who handle both mediums just beautifully. Like again, working with Larry Cedar in 44. Larry was on my favorite TV show of all time. Larry was on Deadwood.
Yeah, Deadwood.
And I still fangirl over Deadwood with Larry all the time. But I've been blessed to work with people who just know how to turn the dial.
Yeah. There is something, I think now, I feel like now I've been traumatized by the rigidity of television and the expectations and the scheduling of television. It's almost like getting out of jail, like acclimating to society. Yeah. I, like everyone, I just want to get back on stage. I want to be around live energy, but I feel like in doing that, you have to breathe. You have to land and fully be present and slow down. And it's been a wild few years for us, what with, the strike and the pandemic. And I don't know how I would receive it. And you keep insisting that we just do like a cold read of, something easy, something super easy, like Rosencrantz. Super easy.
Isn't easy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a dick for that because I picked a really hard play for us to do.
But the irony is that play is us.
It is, very much so.
I read through it and I was like, yeah.
This is one of our Friday nights while Bollywood is on. Yeah.
If I had stayed back in Toluca Lake, we would have had a podcast. We would have had us critiquing Bollywood action films.
Oh God, yeah. Are you kidding?
They're ridiculous, and I love it.
Yeah,
they really
with
do.
Nothing but love too, without being.
It's all love. Like we actually love.
We're fans. We're fans of it.
I mean, how do you launch off of a mogul in a car, chilling on the front of the hood of the car with your feet crossed, waiting for it to land, and then whip out a gun and start? Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's like a comic book come to life.
Exactly.
Oh, you guys.
You're missing out. You're missing out.
If you haven't seen it. I know there's some on Netflix, so there's no excuse.
There's a couple of them.
Oh my God. What haven't we? How many stage shows have you done now? Are you in the 40s?
Oh,
Are you about?
Well, professionally,
yes.
I would say I have to be at least north of 40.
Wow. And maybe how many of those are classic literature as opposed to contemporary?
Actually, I would say about half and half.
Wow, honestly. That's amazing.
Well, I had an opportunity to work at a really great theater company in Pasadena called The Noise Within that specializes in classic theater. And I worked there for about 5 years. So I did everything from, I did Man of La Mancha, I did A Tale of Two Cities, I did a ton of Shakespeare there. And I started in Shakespeare when I way back when I was a wee lad in San Jose. I started doing summer repertory Shakespeare company. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah,
you've been busy. You did you do Shakespeare in the Park at one point too? Were you one of those live?
I did. That was one of the first things
Wow.
I worked with this company. I had a college professor at this community college I was going to in Saratoga who ran a summer Shakespeare repertory company.
Nice.
In Humboldt County, about 200 miles north of San Francisco. and it was a gorgeous outdoor venue at Lake Benbow. And I called it Shakespeare on the Highway because there was a beautiful lake, there was a park that had the stage, and the 101 freeway. Every night you'd be in the middle of your soliloquy and an 18-wheeler would go by.
That's awesome.
To see the chance to but I did. I mean, you'll appreciate this. I learned stage combat doing Shakespeare. I did Treasure Island, so I had to learn to fire muskets. It was just like it was playing in the park. Yeah. So there was some outdoor theater. When I got down here, there were a lot of like smaller intimate theaters that do. There are a lot of them that do Shakespeare because you don't have to pay rights. It's eminent domain.
Right.
Shakespeare's not around. So I did the Two Gentlemen for A Tale of Two City, City Company of Angels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the stuff I did with A Noise Within, which was wonderful. And then the contemporary stuff is a little trickier because it's new.
Right. You're developing it, like you're creating it.
I kind of come to realize this over the last couple of years. Like contemporary work may start here, but it doesn't stay here. It gets out of town pretty quickly if it's going to stay at all. If it's going to go anywhere.
I prefer contemporary to Shakespeare. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
To know that, like, because I was in opera, and opera, you're dealing with works for the most part that thousands and thousands and thousands of other singers have performed. And you're always trying not to compare, yourself to what they've done or you have to reinvent and be in your own grace in a role that's so famous, it's kind of unforgiving. Whereas in contemporary works, you get a chance to put your stamp a little bit on it. And I like that. I like to organically find where it's going. Granted, they're becoming contemporary works of older productions, but I like new. And the newer stories too that come with it.
Okay.
You disagree?
No, I'm just saying I'm going to let the audience go and be on this. You can easily substitute Shakespeare for opera and say that exact same thing.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. But that's my point. Like Shakespeare is, my God. I mean, Kenneth Branagh, who, knowing what he's capable of, who wants to do Iago?
I do.
Well, you do, but that's because that's your brain. That's your salt right there.
I absolutely. Yeah. I'd kill to do Iago.
I don't know. I like new things.
Listen, I'm also like 100 years older than
you are.
This body.
Yeah.
I was born a 50-year-old man.
It's true though. You're very much like your whole vibe is like those old shows I grew up on. And like,
and that's due to my upbringing. I was raised in a family that went as far back as like, Gone with the Wind all the way up to.
I grew up on 45s and Lawrence Welk and like I'm weird for a reason. I am.
I'll give a quick shout out to my dad who on opening night of 44 at the Kirk Douglas, he turned 90 years old. And every now and then I'll want to get him going on a conversation. I'll ask him about some of the music that he used to listen to when he was a teenager and education music all over again.
Yeah, honestly. Music is everything. We got
and the thing too, and of course what we're talking about, like in theater, music is just like with a movie too. Like music, the soundtrack of a play or the soundtrack of a piece of theater is every bit as much a character in it as the actors.
Yeah,
the characters
absolutely.
In the play. Same thing with the set.
Leitmotifs.
Same thing with the set.
Right.
The set, the lighting, the isolation, all of that. You ever see a production of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, where it's all set in that sterile, bland,
you feel it
place, and the fluorescent lighting.
Yeah,
the smart ones that do the fluorescent lighting, so it's just like, and it affects the audience.
It does, yeah.
But the music as well. It's like I remember seeing a production of it in Orange County years ago, and they had throughout the entire play, they had just like Muzak, soft elevator Muzak playing the entire time, and it was unnerving to get to you. And I was like, this is a great, I hate it, but this is a great idea. Yeah, but it had the effect. It had the effect that you wanted.
I mean, don't get me going on music. That's a whole nother episode of this because that's my blood, basically. And, you know, like you, because I love it so much and I love so many different genres, I like good quality music, and the trajectory that things have gone in because of tech and advancement. You're missing that. I like the connection. I like people to plug into the art that we create. I really like them to go and have an experience, either break out of reality and laugh, or connect with an emotion, maybe something that resonates with them, or, you know, discover themselves in somebody else's. We're so connected in that way, humans. It was our first way of communicating, was drawings and music. And that's my jam right there. And I know yours too. We're from the same planet.
Absolutely.
So I want to know from theater a favorite fuck. Like for me, there was one. So I did a lot of sitting in the audience when I finally got toward Broadway, so fucking close, 9/11. I sat a lot in the audience and I sketched because I was always underscoring somebody else. Like I was always number 2 on a roll and whatever. I watched, God bless him, one of our baritones had Coke bottle glasses. He wore contacts for production, but the lights got behind the glass at one point. On the second day we had the orchestra there, and he plumb walked off the front of that stage into the orchestra pit, just completely missed the end of the stage. And
gravity can be a fickle bitch in theater.
Boom, boom, by accident.
Gravity will fuck with you in theater.
And I've fallen on stage when a costume comes apart and there's like beads and buttons.
I've had that happen. In fact, that was probably one of my more embarrassing ones. One of the first productions I did of Much Ado About Nothing. I was playing one of the henchmen, the villain's henchmen, and I get arrested, and I was in a stockade, literally the thing that sticks across your back, and your hands are, so I can't, my hands are tied, and my pants fell down in the middle of this.
Oh my God.
And this was the Shakespeare on the Highway, so I'm outside. And I had to finish the scene with my pants around my ankles and then crab walk off stage. I don't know if I got a bigger laugh in the rest of the run, but that happened. I mean, I've had a few.
Wow.
I've had some good ones. People missing entrances, me missing entrances. I missed.
Oh God, those are the best. Have you ever wound up in the wrong scene?
Oh no, I missed an entrance once because I had had a good chunk of downtime, about 10, 15 minutes, and I was in my dressing room, monitors on. I could hear everything that's happening on stage. I hear my cue line to get ready to head up to go out, and I go in to open the door, and the door won't open.
Oh shit.
And I was like tugging, pushing. It's like, is it a push? Is it a pull? I've been in this theater for a month now. I should know this. And what had happened was they were moving another show in. It was close to my closing, so they were moving another show in. Somebody left a costume rack in front of my dressing room door. And
that'll do it.
Yeah. I've had some fun ones, and I've had fun ones happen on stage too. Somebody decided to pull a prank one time on me and they ordered pizza for me and in the
middle of the show.
Yeah, and had it delivered on stage. It was like a sketch show. I was doing a sketch thing.
Oh, okay, all right.
I was doing the Marx Brothers routine with my friend.
That's kind of brilliant.
And we're in the middle of this thing, and this guy knocked on the door, and he goes, "Pizza for Mike." I told him to leave it on the back stoop. Would you get off? I'm busy.
Improv.
Yeah, improv again. Though, I mean, live theater, nothing like it.
Oh, I love it so much.
It happens in 44, but we take care of each other. That's the main thing.
And that's the thing. That's the thing you don't often get to do, to bond so fast on a television or a film set. Like, you get thrown together, you've got a schedule, that time is money, gotta get out. The theater, it's its own world. So we're at that point when we've got just enough time for me to ask you the big question, which is, what's next? What's still on that bucket list? Things are so strange right now in Hollywood, obviously, with the coming off the strike and things going overseas. But for you, Are we directing, writing?
Oh, I don't know if I should direct. Uh, that's not true. I have directed in the past. I just worry about my temperament as I'm getting older.
I would work for you in a heartbeat, and I would let you yell at me. I would not
No,
care.
I wouldn't yell. I just I'm impatient with myself. It wouldn't
You
be.
get perturbed.
I get upset with myself more than anything.
Yeah.
So 44 is running at the Kirk Douglas until March 23rd.
Get your tickets because it's going to be sold out.
Yeah. Go to the 44obamamusical.com. I want to shout out the rest of our cast because I mentioned some of them. Our Obama is played by the incredible TJ Wilkins. Michelle Obama is played by Shanice, who is a powerhouse. We have a force of nature playing what is called the voice of the people, which is kind of a narrator, is Summer Greer. Abraham Lincoln is played wonderfully by my friend Markel Clayton Edwards. Joe Biden is played by a man I've known for many years. His name is Chad Dorick. Chad has created this character from scratch over the course of the last 2 years, and he is simply a comedic gold. Young actors are going to come to this show and leave wanting to do what Chad does.
Nice.
So after LA, hopefully this wonderful company, Jane Papa George plays Sarah Palin, or Hillary Clinton. Jane Pasturzik is just hurts me with laughter every night. And then did I forget everybody? I hope I didn't forget anybody. If I did, I apologize. My wonderful company. We're scheduled to go back to Chicago in the summer, I believe.
Awesome.
I think Philadelphia is also in the running for the wintertime. And then after that, who knows? Other than that, Captured Aural Phantasy Theater, we do shows, whenever we're available, whenever we can. We have kind of a standing gig at this wonderful venue in Hollywood called Dynasty Typewriter. We just did a Valentine's Day show there. I sent you the song that I sang.
Amazing.
Captured Aural Phantasy Theater is producing a musical about William Gaines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, that's interesting.
A full musical written by Ben Dicko, our director, and the music is by Ray Hedgepeth, our incredible composer. We did readings for it in Long Beach last year. Went over really well. So we're looking to take that to see what's next there.
Nice.
And then, just besides that, whenever I can get in front of a camera, I'll get in front of a camera.
He's available, and he's so good. One thing I can say on this side of the camera, watching all the promotionals and seeing, I love the BTS of all the audience members after each production.
Yeah.
You're having so much fun. People love 44th Musical.
Yeah.
They are having a blast. It's like after the fires and, pandemic and just the way the country is, the stress going on right now, it seems like the perfect reprieve.
It is. I mean, and again, that goes back to our production staff. Like Eli is our director and our producer. Monica Saunders Weinberg is our other producer. Mm-hmm. Our entire production team is so focused and so solid, and
they have to be, And plays are no joke. It's a lot of work. Production is very, very different. It's on the road half the time.
And when you're trying to get the show to the next level, and you're trying to, and like I said, they're doing a lot of stuff that hasn't been done before, and they're asking a lot of questions and creating a lot of scenarios. It's making the theater world go, well, I don't see why you shouldn't try it that way.
Right. All the more reason for them to be paying attention.
And it's just and it's so much work. And we as the cast really appreciate it. I don't know if we say that enough, but we really do.
Well, Ted Cruz.
Tough job. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. I'm so glad that I could nab you. I know you're not done tonight. You've got more rehearsals and things to do. So I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to hang on to you just a couple minutes while I say goodbye to those who did tune on today. This has been live on YouTube and on Instagram. Mike, I will send you everything. You can have it for your own promotion or just as a keepsake, make you feel a little bit closer to me because we're so freaking far away for now. This was episode 11 in season 2, Mikey. Remember when I was like, I should do a podcast? Well, Here it is. So thank you guys. I know Justin wasn't here today, but for a good reason. He's out producing his own shows. That's what we want. That's ideal.
Always.
And we're going to have a whole bunch more people. If you've got ideas for the show, please send them to gatmpod@gmail.com and let me know, if you want a director, a producer, whatever, whatever, stage, makeup, hair, whatever. What's exciting to you guys? It's basically, we're just going to talk to people who aren't uber celebrities, and you get to meet us, and we'll have fun and we'll laugh. And yeah, I'm glad you're here. Mwah. Now, all I have to do, Mike, is close out this show, and I have produced one whole show by myself. This is it. We'll see you next time, guys.